Happy holidays, gang. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, interestingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Wednesday, December 17th, 2025. This is live show 1269. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop role-playing game news. And normally we will take a first look at a role-playing game release, which is what we'll be doing tonight as we dive on in to take a look at The Hooded Man from Osprey Games. So this is coming up in just a bit. Of course, every once in a while, I'll do a topic related to the hobby, maybe even just do an AMA after sharing the news. But for the most part, we're usually taking first look at games around here. Now, of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Then, of course, if you are watching live, because this is a live show, there is chat available. Now, you have to be a subscriber to the channel in order to take part, and you must be a subscriber for at least an hour before joining us in chat. But if you check off that box and you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Semper Buffo. And I see Shozama85 is also jumping on into chat. I'll take a guess. We might have the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D as one of our chat moderators this evening, lurking in the shadows, very possibly. So I'm going to take a guess. Tonight's going to be a little quieter in chat because I would not be shocked if some folks want to see what the President of the United States has to say. It's about all I need to say. I'm not going to comment. I'll probably watch his address later on this evening. Tessie Trekkie's with us, as is Keith Thulhu. Semper Buffo says some issues with chat reporting subscribers mode for an hour. It's fixed for them. That's kind of weird. So is chat not letting people who are subscribers, longtime subscribers, into chat? Keith Lewis says they'd rather listen to Fran Drescher talk for 8 hours straight. I'm trying to remember what wasn't the family's name like Addison or something like that? Mr. Addison. Yeah. And Sarah D is with us this evening with the glittery banhammer. So behave yourselves. She is our active chat moderator. I think this is a gaming night for our good friend, the Madman, our other chat moderator. So might be Miss Sarah D doing solo duty tonight. All right, let's jump right on into the news because there is a new Traveler Adventure campaign which has arrived from Mongoose Publishing. And I've got the latest on Cluster Truck. I don't really like that name, but for centuries, the truckers have kept the worlds of the estuary cluster connected. Long years, hard years, but proud years. Trucking is a way of life, even if it ends with a trucker's wake. Now the corporate shipping lines want to take over the space lanes. Canaveral Station is under blockade, rigs impounded, and crews in the slammer. The only thing left to do is hold a wake for a way of life. Unless... This is Angry Bird to Slick Silver. Smokey's bought your diversion, starting my run. Hard hat to Angry Bird, I'm on your 6. Rocket Jockey here, commencing that thing I'm about to do. Don't die, you hear me, Dark Sky? You there? We're kicking the door open for you. See you on the other side. Cluster Truck is a complete campaign that will see your travelers take command of their own small craft, hauling cargo across a system. They will steal potatoes, get covered in frozen beer in deep space, take part in a history-making riot, uncover corporate skullduggery, and smash a blockade while confounding local law enforcement. The 160-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $49.99. You can grab just the PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG for $29.99. DB's stealing my thunder. We got a great big convoy driving through the nights. We got a great big convoy, ain't she a beautiful sight? Convoy. My best friend Elliot Miller can sing that from beginning to end, even to this day. Pretty insane. Pretty insane. So, of course, DB is with us, as is Max Apocalypse, and Kathy Evans is popping on in. Max Apocalypse says, I can't help but see the specter of AI art these days. That bar shot, AI has tainted everything. Yes, I could see that. I know, because I'll see stuff and I'll think to myself, now, wait a second. Is that generative AI? I mean, because there's obviously a difference between digital and AI, but I know. And yes, the title Cluster Truck, kind of goofy. I am happy to see something different as far as the tone of a Traveler campaign, that's for sure. In fact, tomorrow I'll be sharing a news piece, another news piece from Mongoose Publishing about something which is kind of unusual. But I'll wait till then. Pete Stracklich is also popping on into chat. Good to see you once again. On to our next news piece. Now available in print and PDF is the Pendragon Arthurian Companion Special Edition from Moon Design Publications and Chaosium Inc. I've got the lowdown. The Essential Lore Companion for Pendragon. A new edition of the classic Arthurian Companion. Over 280 pages of the lore of King Arthur's Britain. Written by Arthurian scholar Phyllis Ann Carr, this edition of the Arthurian Companion builds on previous publications which were originally printed in 1983, 1997, and 2001. It is the most complete compendium of Arthurian lore to date, owing to the thoroughness of its author and additional contributions by Greg Stafford. Pendragon, the Arthurian Companion Special Edition, contains over 1,000 entries covering all the people, places, and things associated with Arthurian stories. Each entry is covered in digestible detail, allowing players and game masters alike to more readily immerse themselves in the Pendragon setting. This deluxe hardcover edition features original cover art of the elusive questing beast by Nati Padapipat. I'm sure I butchered that name. My apologies. As a game master, Pendragon, the Arthurian Companion Special Edition will be invaluable as a resource to bolster the richness of an existing campaign, as well as inspire all new tales of your own imagination. For Pendragon players, this tome can be used to help ingrain your player night in a specific time and place and to flesh out the events and backstory of your character. The 288-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $39.99. If you want to score just the PDF, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. I will mention, even though this is being branded as a Pendragon supplement, I do not believe there is any mechanical reference to Pendragon in this book. I seem to recall this companion being just, an Arthurian companion, not necessarily a game book. And I don't think that's changed. That said, I'm not trying to tell you, hey, don't pick it up, because it is a compendium of Arthurian legend. I just think it's a little unusual that it's being branded as Pendragon, and the sell sheet info is talking about players and game masters, when the reality is it's an encyclopedic compendium. Max Apocalypse says that cover is great. Also said they would subscribe to a Space Truckers dramatic podcast voiced solely by Jeff. I don't know so much about that. Moonrise Long, Goodman Games, and Fanatical have joined forces for the colossal 70-plus Dungeons RPG collection. Now I've got the deets on the deal. Roll the dice and get dungeon crawling with this colossal collection of Dungeon Crawl Classics adventures. Fanatical is proud to partner with the awesome Goodman Games to offer you a staggering collection of 77 RPG books, jam-packed, full of adventure, stories, twists, dungeons, and more. The first tier is an exclusive gift to you, offering 4 holiday specials at no cost. Those are also designed for Dungeon Crawl Classics, the role-playing game, not D&D. Uncover the mystery in the gnome toy-making town of Conhengen, and here you'll unravel the mystery of the gnome's true purpose. From Tier 2 to 4, unlock issues 0 through 66 of Dungeon Crawl Classics and experience a cavalcade of adventures from level 1 to 16 for D&D. Many of these, actually, 4th edition. Excuse me. Suddenly kind of sucked in some dust or something. That's better. Inside this collection are a number of Gen Con and any nominated adventures for you to test your mettle. That wasn't enough. There are also World of Earth supplements, adventure compilations, and still more. As an extra bonus treat, anyone who purchases Tier 4 will also receive a 20% off voucher at goodmangames.com. Should say it's goodman-games.com. Collect your copy of this incredible offer today before it's locked away in the darkest of dungeons. All the products included in this promotion will be redeemed through DriveThruRPG, and you must redeem your bundle keys before December of next year. These savings will run through February 3rd, so you do have time to jump aboard. 77 PDFs for as little as I want to say. I thought I had the pricing on here. Well, we know you can jump aboard for free. I want to say the 77 PDFs is $19.99. Zoinks! That's how Fanatical always works. Pennies for each release. It's like we were talking about the Cobalt Press Fanatical deal that's going on. Pete Stracklitz said DCC 100 had a great poster with all the modules on it from number 0. They're definitely going to frame it. Wasn't the 100th adventure the music of the spheres? I've never had an opportunity to see it up close and personal. I know it's got the dials on the dungeon and stuff like that. Shazama 85 said they've taken some NyQuil, so it might knock them out. Well, hopefully you can stay conscious for a little bit longer. Pete Stragowitz says, yep, that is the 100th adventure. Keith Lewis said they've run Temple of the Dragon Cult twice. Once for 3.5. Oh, yeah, that's right. These date all the way back to 3.5, don't they? Some of them are 4th. Are any of them 5th edition? I don't know. I'm not that well versed with the first 67. I guess it would be 68 since there's a 0. Dungeon Crawl Classics. I'm only familiar from 67 onward, because then that's where the adventures are for Dungeon Crawl Classics. Sweet. But gotta say, even if you're just using these for inspiration, how can it go wrong? 77 PDFs for $19.99. Crazy. Moving right along, now available in print and PDF for Easy D6 is Dreadful Doomscapes. And here's the latest from Runehammer Games. Welcome, my pretties, to the deepest depths and the blackest shadows. When it's time to turn off the lights, put on the spooky music, and get your trusty under-chin flashlight ready, this book is for you. They've kept things streamlined, avoiding rule repeats from other Easy D6 books to save space for all the horrors here. This does mean you'll need the Easy D6 core rulebook to dive into these play sets. And they've even tapped into the Easy D6 Wasted World for some content, so having that book would be a boon too. Now step into the Chamber of Horrors. There are such sights to show you. There are 2 shades of horror, whether you're in the mood for subtle chills or heart-pounding terror. Prepare to unleash an unforgettable night of fright on your table. Brace yourselves for an electrifying experience that will keep you and your friends riveted to the edge of your seats. You've got everyday nightmares. Ready for a rush? Just regular folks thrown into a terrifying scenario. Who will emerge unscathed? Or more intriguingly, what deadly fate awaits your victim? Then we've got the Dreadborn Hunters. Monsters hide in every shadow, but your team of daring misanthropes bravely challenge these fearsome creatures, siphoning their essence to gain extraordinary powers. Will the hunters become the hunted? All the Easy D6 smoothness you've come to love, with plenty of new monsters, character options, and adventures are contained within. A juicy book that is a must-have for any Easy D6 collector. Wouldn't it be Game Master? I would think you'd buy the books to run stuff, not just necessarily collect it. The 250-page hardcover with PDF can be had over at DriveThruRPG for $25.50. If you want to snag just the PDF, you can do so for $12.50. Keith Lewis says Dungeon Crawl Classics came out around 2012 after the 4E flameout. Yeah, but is 5E out by 2012? Isn't 5th edition, didn't it come out 2014-ish? I do not know. 2015 is what Wallona's Cave points out. Yes. Welcome back, Wallona's Cave. Max Apocalypse says, I feel like the buzz around Easy D6 died out pretty quickly. Some cool new non-fantasy expansions could definitely get me to take a look. Pete Straklich says, this is a must for them. Easy D6. You know, I gotta say, I don't recall there being a ton of buzz around Easy D6. And this is the reason why I don't seem to recall much about it, was because right about the same time, Runehammer Games was also releasing Crown and Skull, or is it Skull and Crown? I think it's Crown and Skull, which was, like I said, about the same time. I have heard really good things about Easy D6. That's why I'm sharing this news piece effectively, and I've shared other news pieces for some of the Easy D6 releases. I wouldn't mind taking a peek at this. I mean, the core book, and of course this, but kind of curious about it. Let's see. Max Apocalypse says one of the things that made them fickle about the game were terms like mover and shaker. All right. So 5E 2014. That's what I thought. I thought it was 2014. So there wouldn't be any Dungeon Crawl Classics early, well, pre-67. That would be 5E. They would all be 3.5 as well. Well, maybe even all the way back to 3. And then a little bit of 4. Because I think some of the 60s were 4. Once again, as I mentioned, I'm not all that well versed with the non-Dungeon Crawl Classics. Dungeon Crawl Classics. Coco P is with us tonight. Good to see you once again. Lona's Cave says there's also no wealth system or spells either. Interesting. All right, let's wrap up the news tonight because Doomguard the RPG is now out in PDF for the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition. And here's the lowdown from Pinnacle Entertainment Group. When alien warships burn through the skies, when mad gods stir in their slumber, when the world trembles on the brink of annihilation, there's only one team Earth can depend on. Called the Doomguard. In the aftermath of the Visori invasion, a new generation of heroes rises to defend a city built on loss and legend. As the Guardians of Legacy City, your team establishes a towering beacon of hope in a metropolis haunted by crime, corruption, and cosmic dread. This 96-page PDF contains all the information you need to play the Doomguard in the world of necessary evil. Inside, you'll find a detailed guide to Liberty City, a metropolis teetering on the edge of madness and oblivion. Discover new hindrances, edges, gear, powers, and terrifying setting rules for corruption, where your abilities may grow, but so too does the darkness within. Experience a full 10-act plot point campaign as the Doomguard unravels a globe-spanning conspiracy involving mythos-powered teleportation tech, twisted cults, and the end of all things. Plus, you'll find savage tales, new threats, and a rogues gallery of cultists, deep ones, and cosmic nightmares, along with guidelines for blending Doomguard with Necessary Evil, Cosmic Crisis, and more. Play as Earth's last line of defense, hero or villain, and prepare for the doom. The 96-page PDF can be had over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Well. I have to say that as far like Necessary Evil, you may recall that I shared a first look at it. I did not review it. And the reason why I didn't is because I did not care for it. So it wasn't, the superhero aspects of it or anything like that. And I didn't mind the fact that in essence, the players are supervillains because all the superheroes are destroyed in this alien invasion. So all that's left to defend the Earth are the supervillains. I just thought the adventures that were contained in the box set, and it was like, I think it was like all of the Necessary Evil adventures, they were just too linear. It was, the players really didn't have much agency at all. That's like weird. Elf Knight is joining us tonight. Says, love Savage Worlds, but Doomguard's cover looks like a bad looter shooter video game. Funny enough, they had a different cover for this before. I think when they did the Kickstarter, they had a far cooler looking cover, and then they changed it. And I agree. This is kind of a ho-hum sort of cover. It's like, oh, okay, so it's a couple of superheroes, a couple of monsters on the rooftop behind them. And I see Keith McGrath is joining us in chat. Got a bigger chat, I should say, rocking and rolling tonight than I was expecting. So welcome, everybody. That is the news for this evening. Of course, I've mentioned DriveThruRPG a few times. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, are affiliated, I should say, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to go visit, say, DriveThruRPG, Storytellers Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of the numerous One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. Also, if you like the video, by all means, give it a quick thumbs up. If you are watching on mobile, use some hype points. I'm hearing good things about if you utilize hype points, sharing the channel with other people. Although, weirdly enough, it is only available on phones and tablets. I don't know why. I mean, it's YouTube doing YouTube things. Never makes much sense, at least, to people who are sane. But if you are watching on mobile, use some of those hype points, help spread the word. But of course, I should point out, if you enjoy the Gaming Gang, if you find the outlet to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, there are a couple other ways that you can help support the outlet. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Oh, that's lovely. Especially since my throat's all scratchy. I don't know why. And, of course, you can become a monthly member of our Patreon. You'll find links in the show notes. Also, down in those show notes, you'll find an invite link to our Discord server. It's free to sign up, so be sure to come and hang with the gang over on Discord. Also, we'll mention there are 2 days left in the holiday used game sale. So, of course, if you're curious about that, go visit thegaminggang.com. You'll see like a banner. Well, it's not really a banner. It's like a header on the interior pages as well as the front page. Click on that. It's going to show you all the stuff that is currently available. And keep in mind, I will not have another used game sale until next June. So if there's something that catches your eye, if you're not grabbing it now, it's either going to be gone or you'll have to wait till June. Stray Kismet is with us in chat. Max Apocalypse says, oh, the Tales of the Valiant on the shelf reminds them there's a bundle going on right now. I did talk about the Cobalt Press bundle over at Fanatical. That was on last night's show. And of course, the news piece went up on thegaminggang.com today. Funny enough, I don't remember there being any Tales of the Valiant in it. It's all 5e stuff, but it's recent stuff. It's not all, well, it's 20 years old. But yeah, it's 5e stuff. All right. Let's see. Anything else going on in chat now? I think I'm up to snuff on that. Sweet. Okay. So we are going to be taking a look at the Hooded Man tonight. We're going to start taking a peek at this in a few minutes. Did want to mention on tomorrow's show, I originally was planning on taking a first look at Paranoia, Brave New Missions. And I got word that the new D&D book is arriving tomorrow. It's like, okay. Max Apocalypse says Bundle of Holding is offering the Cobalt Press. Really? Kind of curious. I'm going to take a peek real quick. So I was going to say that's brand new. Yep. Tales of the Valiant is a brand new bundle. Because every afternoon I always take a look to see if there are new bundles out there. And there were actually 2 at Fanatical when I took a peek yesterday. So I scheduled one, put one on last night's news, and then saved the other one for tonight's news. So there you got that. So I will share the Bundle of Holding for Tales of the Valiant on tomorrow's show. Anyway, what I'm going to do then, if the new, Artificer book, is that what it is? I think it's an Eberron book. I haven't really been paying that much attention, mainly because it's like the PR company that they're using now doesn't really know when things are shipping out. And it's like, okay, I don't know. But I figured, yeah, we can take a peek at that. And then I will share just a standalone video where I take a first look at Brave New Missions. Because that way we can take a look at the new D&D book. And if anybody's kind of curious about something that's in it, we can track it down and give it a peek. So we've got that ahead of us. Now, if for any reason that does not show up, because that has happened before with FedEx, that they've delivered it to the wrong address and then had to go pick it up the next day, we will take a look at the Paranoia book. So there is that. All righty then. So also want to give a big shout out to our Patreon members. I like to do that on every live show. So a big thank you to Adrian Carpio, Gustavo Cavalho, Herman Lutman, Jason Lawman, Kuval, Kevin R. Smith, Sean O'Donnell, Talzek, Dan Webb, Game Cat, Kevin King, Pete Strakulich, RPG Munch, Tessie Trekkie, Tier 2 DM, Agile Monk, and the Madman. Much appreciated, everybody. Thank you kindly. All right, we're going to take a peek at The Hooded Man from Osprey Games. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission. Why is this? Lately, every time I try to get the intermission to kick off, it just doesn't. I guess it's stuck.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
There's a place in town that has 12 terrific glasses for the 12 days of Christmas. And every time you buy a medium-sized Pepsi for only 59 cents, you get to keep the glass it comes in. And here's the nicest part of the whole offer. There are only 2 glasses every week, so you have to keep coming back to get the whole set. And you know why that's so nice? Because the place you have to keep coming back to is Taco Bell.
And as you can see, Arthur Treacher's giving gift certificates free. Don't pay for gift certificates. Get them free with a family pack. Coupons can save lots of money for you. On fish, on chicken, on shrimp and clams, too. Certificates and coupons worth more than $5 free when you buy an Arthur Treacher family pack.
Daddy, afterward, don't forget to bring home our family pack.
Free gift certificates.
Ben Franklin has everything in Christmas trimmings. Come see their complete selection of home and tree decorations. Beautiful tree lights, tree trimming, window decorations, and much, much more. It's true, Ben Franklin has the biggest and best selection in town. Christmas sweets are a must. They feature kitchen-fresh, delicious Christmas candies at reasonable prices. And you'll get helpful, friendly service at Ben Franklin in Williston and Crosby. The Williston store will be open every night till Christmas, and the Crosby store will be open evenings starting December 4th.
And We're No Angels is the international comedy hit that's going to have you laughing like the devil. With Humphrey Bogart and his buddies as 3 wonderful and wacky fugitive convicts trying to break out of Devil's Island. They even have the bloodhounds confused because these 3 happy outlaws have talent. For instance, Bogart's a genius. He can sell anybody anything.
Yes, that's better. No stomach at all. Stop breathing.
Peter Ustinov is an artist. He can open anything. That's how he got to Devil's Island in the first place.
Quiet, please.
Aldo Ray is the lover. He can, well, maybe we'd better not go into that.
You find me? That is, do I seem to you? Well, do I?
I could go to jail for the way I feel. If I wasn't there already.
Beautiful Joan Bennett and Leo G. Carroll, the delightfully dim-witted topper of TV fame, just don't know what to make of their uninvited guest.
If only they didn't trust us. Oh, it isn't fair. Here we are, 3 desperate criminals who'll stop at nothing to escape from Devil's Island, and we have to fall in with nice people.
But not everybody's so nice. There's that bad man, Basil Rathbone, to complicate everything.
Convicts, what are you doing here on Christmas Eve? We're the 3 wise men.
And they really are. The 3 wise guys who have the solution to everybody's problem, right in that little box.
Ah, yes, another forgotten Christmas classic, We're No Angels. I want to say that movie's been remade twice. Once with Robert De Niro and Sean Penn. I still think the classic's the best. Plus, they're on Devil's Island, which is weird, though, because they're wearing rags. Isn't it pretty obvious that they're escaped prisoners? Maybe not. Maybe not. And yes, of course, it's got Humphrey Bogart in it. How can you go wrong there? All right, so tonight we're going to dive on in and take a first look at The Hooded Man from Osprey Games. This 192-page hardcover is available now. Carries an MSRP of $38. Yes, it's true. The price of the hardcovers from Osprey Games has gone up. So has the pricing on their digital copies. So you can get the EPUB or PDF for $26.60. Having said all that, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got The Hooded Man. Bum, bum, bum. Couple of things to mention before we get stuck in. First of all, the fine folks over at Osprey Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. It's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the book, but I do want to give you a good feel for what you're going to find inside. It's my understanding that this is a role-playing game that's kind of inspired by the legend of Robin Hood, but it is not necessarily a Robin Hood role-playing game. It's kind of the impression I got. I don't know. So let's take a look at the back here, because then it'll actually tell us what the deal is, right? Prince John rules with an iron fist, and Robin Hood is already a legendary figure, a champion of the common people, and a symbol of resistance against the tyranny of the nobility. Even Robin Hood cannot be everywhere, however, and many still fall prey to powerful landowners, grasping tax collectors, and greedy barons. Charged with crimes and forced from their homes, the life of an outlaw seems to be the only option. Some, seeking vengeance or inspired by tales of Robin's bravery, refuse to submit and fight back against those who have driven them into the green wood. The Hooded Man is a role-playing game of heroism and adventure that tells the stories of these rebels, be they members of Robin's band striking out against the Sheriff of Nottingham from their lair in Sherwood Forest, or an outlaw company of the player's own creation. Characters are drawn from all walks of life, bringing their own talents, histories, and motives to the company. And the simple D6 dice pool system keeps the focus on these heroes and their fight against tyranny and oppression. Nice. Mike is with us tonight, says, outlaws. You can't be any geek off the street. Got to be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean. Earn your keep. So Coco B said the title of this role-playing game may be a reference to the BBC's Robin of Sherwood from the 80s. Well, so this is written by Graham Rose and illustrated by Brain Bug Design, which I seem to recall they did the illustrations for another Osprey Games role-playing game. It was the horror game that they came out with. I'm trying to remember the title of it. I just saw it. I just saw the book the other day floating around. It's actually one of the role-playing games that's available in the sale. All right. So let's take a look here. Here is our introduction. This is a game about outlaws in a semi-historical medieval England, Characters begin as ordinary folks striving to survive against the odds. As newly made outlaws, they need to ensure their survival and that of their comrades, gain allies, and fight their oppressors. The characters in this game are victims of circumstance. They are born at a time and place in history when unjust laws are the norm and criminals are cruelly punished. Some may lose the battle for survival to be remembered by their friends in tales told around the campfire. Others, though, may prosper, becoming renowned outlaws and even legendary figures, giving hope to the downtrodden and inspiring fear in the hearts of tyrants. And yes, Robin Hood is the hooded man. So talking about our dice, it uses standard 6-sided dice. We have tests. When players have their characters attempt actions with an unpredictable outcome, a test is usually required. Many actions won't require tests. These include simple activities and tasks that are routine and present no real difficulty, such as following a woodland path or chopping some firewood. The GM may decide that some tasks, although challenging, don't warrant a test because the test would add little to the fun or drama of the adventure. When the GM deems a test is needed for a situation, it is the player who rolls. All tests are made from the perspective of the player character. For example, if a character is chasing a foe, the player makes the test to see if the character catches the foe, rather than the GM making a test for the foe to escape. Looking for the procedures here. When a test is required, the player rolls a number of dice based on the character's current number of traits. For example, a character with 3 traits rolls 3 dice for most tests. A result of 6 on any of the dice indicates the action is performed successfully. Note, there is no additional benefit if multiple 6s are rolled. If none of the dice show a 6, the character has failed the test. This is called an ordinary test. Whenever a character fails a test, it's up to the game master to decide if further attempts are possible. Keith McGrath says, sorry, you didn't roll enough successes to chop the firewood. Yep, everybody's going to be cold. Everybody, your outlaw's froze to death because Bernard couldn't chop the wood, failed his test. Keith McGrath says, paper quality looks nice. Yeah, it's solid. Come on, it's Osprey Games, division of Osprey Publishing. We can expect solid book production quality just about every single time. See, says characters can lose traits temporarily, which affects the number of dice a player rolls. We also have challenging situations. On rare occasions, a test may be required for a situation that is unusually challenging. For example, balancing on a log across a river without falling in would be tough if Little John is swinging a quarterstaff at you. This is known as a troublesome test. Why wouldn't you just say it's a challenging situation? Just said it. In these sorts of circumstances, 2 successful rolls made one after the other are required. These must both be successful character to achieve overall success. If one of them fails, the whole activity is failed. So what it's essentially saying is you would roll 2 tests. Not that you need to get 2 6s on one test. And I see Captain Finity Time Travel Police is with us, as is Matthew Hawkswell. Good to see you both. So you can have other player characters assist a character. And you get a bonus die for each person helping. Note, however, that some tasks aren't made that much easier despite several people being involved. Too many cooks spoil the broth, as the saying goes. The GM may limit the number of people that can help, perhaps just one or two, depending on the task. In combat, a character assisting another uses their action to do so. See the combat chapter for more on this. So we have the foes. Characters controlled by the GM are often referred to as foes. We have challenging foes. So standard foes would require one successful test to defeat. Does that mean our challenging foes? Oh, take the back. So it's going to rank them. So we have ordinary, troublesome, threatening, formidable, and fiendish. So ordinary just requires one test, all the way up to fiendish, which requires 5 tests. It says test successes do not normally need to be consecutive, one after the other, against foes. I was wondering about that because I thought, how exciting is that going to be, just having to roll stuff 5 times? Rooster 3840 is with us in chat. Had pointed out previously, I actually saw the comment and then I was distracted by something else. So, ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. But yes, I see Rooster 3840 used to hang with the gang here in chat. They were formerly known as Doug Roberts before they went into witness protection. Reading It is joining us again. Good to see you. Anyway, good to see you again, Doug. Thanks for joining us tonight. But I was going to say, just if you were just rolling your dice pool over and over again, trying to get 5 successes in a row, I'd be like, okay. So, says in combat, when a character achieves a success against the foe, they drop a difficulty level. So a threatening foe becomes troublesome. Troublesome foe becomes ordinary. Injured foes that have dropped 1 or more difficulty levels may recover over time if the GM deems it likely. For example, a troublesome foe that's been injured to ordinary may, after a few days, be troublesome once more. Okay. That makes sense. So we've got our characters. Characters in the game are outlaws, struggling to survive and fighting against tyranny whilst doing their best to help the poor and downtrodden. So you've got your description. So you should put together an overview of your character in a single sentence, including their appearance, demeanor, and motivation. So we've got some name tables here. We've got appearance and demeanor tables if you want to randomly generate these. Motivation tables. And what was your crime? Disturbing the peace, perhaps associated with a dispute or drunkenness. Knowing a bit about medieval history in England, there are some crazy crimes that you would be put to death for. It was like, what? It's like, okay, all right. So we've got our traits. So you're going to roll a die. We've got 3 tables. Yeah, it looks like we got 3 tables. Traits represent those areas of natural ability in which the character excels. I don't believe we have any attributes. I'm not seeing anything. So, not that that's an issue. I mean, this is coming across as being really rules light, which is fine because it wants to focus on the story. I completely understand that. A trait gives a character an advantage for tasks where the trait is applicable. For example, the trait resilient helps if a character is forced to endure hardships, such as extreme cold. Well, yeah, because you failed that wood chopping test. Or starvation, whereas strong is useful for activities such as hefting heavy loads or restraining a foe. So you would roll once on each of the tables because you begin with 3 traits. We have things like agile, aware, charismatic, cunning. I've got a cunning plan, me lord. The character is inventive, resourceful, shrewd, and able to plot and scheme. Use cunning when organizing ambushes, devising plans, trying to understand enemy ploys, conceive of new tactics, or attempting to pull off an elaborate ruse. Keith McGrath says they enjoy the old school style rolling up wacky characters on tables. It can really add to a lot of good role playing, I'll tell you that much. May not have a very survivable character, but still. So we also have resilient, stealthy, strong, virtuous, willful, and wise. We also have a hindrance. Players may opt to have their characters start with a hindrance, a disadvantage, or weakness that makes certain things harder for the character. The advantage in taking a hindrance is that the character gains an additional trait, which would mean you get to start with 4. That gives you 4 dice in your pool. Also, hindrances are a good way to make a character more interesting and unique. So you could be cursed, feeble, heedless, hounded, hunted, inattentive, memorable, pestered, unfortunate, unlucky, and ailing. There we go. We also have talents. You'll begin with 1 talent. Talents represent a selection of useful skills, experience, and knowledge acquired by the character, perhaps from training in an apprenticeship, their occupation before they were outlawed, or because of previous adventures. So you have things like archer, boyer, escaper, fighter, fool, mummer, hunter, leader, serf, veteran, villain, or in this case, villain, weaver, wrestler. And then it will give us some background information about that talent, as well as a weapon for you. So the messenger gets a dagger, the leader gets a sword, the palmer gets a quarterstaff, the warrior gets a sword. Nice. And we have companions. Each player character has 1 companion. Companions are minor members of the outlaw company that are run by the GM but managed by the players. They are mechanically like player characters with a description, traits, and their own equipment. However, companions lack talents, do not usually improve in the way player characters do. Okay, cool. Got our equipment. As far as money goes, although the majority of ordinary folk regularly barter for goods, exchanging items they have for what they need, coins are used from time to time. The most common form of coin is the penny, a very small silver coin. Typical peasant might have a handful of pennies saved up for the emergencies, but rarely more. In the list of goods that follow, all the prices are shown in pennies. Actually, the reality would be a lot of serfs may go their entire life without even seeing a coin, or I shouldn't say seeing a coin, but possessing a coin. Okay, so here's our combat. So we've got turn order. Who acts when in a turn is determined by the GM based on the circumstances. Often the player characters can seize the initiative and perform their actions before foes. A combat encounter begins when a character or foe decides to attack. All right. I'm guessing this is going to be theater of the mind here, although there was a little side box talking about figures, like using minis. So movement, ruses. Characters can attempt ruses, ploys, and tricks to gain advantages or distract and delay foes. A ruse takes an action, but does not necessarily need a successful test to perform. This depends very much on the type of ruse and the player's description of it. For this reason, GMs are advised to allow their players to be creative, since this creates combat encounters that are varied and exciting. So a ruse can provide an advantage, distract, or delay. When a character attacks in close combat in melee, make a brave test. If successful, the character defeats their foe. A failure indicates the character's attack missed. Note that weapons can confer a bonus die. See weapons. When a character fights in a brawl, make a strong test. Challenging foes, those that are not defined as ordinary, take several successes before they're finally defeated. Until that point, each success counts as a wound against them, in effect, a minor defeat. When a foe attacks a character in whatever manner, make an agile test. This is known as a defense test. Why wouldn't it just be an agile test? The way some of this is presented, and of course, I'm going to read through this and review it. It's kind of weird where it's like as an example, like challenging tests. Okay, so it's a challenging test. All right, but that's not what we're going to call it. Even though we just said it's a challenging test, we're going to call it a troublesome test. Call it that to start off with, right? Let's see. All right. So if successful, the character evades the attack and is unscathed. A failure indicates the character is wounded. Defense doesn't count as an action. Combatants are always able to defend themselves unless they are incapacitated, restrained, bound, or unconscious. In situations where speed of reaction is more important than agility, such as when reacting to a surprise attack, quick can be used instead of agile for a defense test. So the question becomes, let's see if we can find the character sheets. I think this is the character sheet here. Yes. So I'm going to say, as I thought, I don't see where we have attributes, but it's calling for like a strong test, brave test, agile test. I'm guessing that anybody can make a brave test, even if they don't happen to have that trait. But if you have that trait, you have some sort of a bonus, just like strong, just like agile. So that would be what I would think. Kevin R. Smith is joining us tonight. Good to see you again, Kevin. So we got ranged combat. We also have cover, throwing melee weapons. So when a character engages in ranged combat, make an accurate test. If successful, the character hits their foe. Failure indicates the character missed. And special uses for weapons. Cleave, chop, parry, rebound, skewer, slice, stun, trick shot, trip, wrap. Cool. So we got injury. How many wounds can a character take? Oh, it's their traits. When a character is hit by an opponent, they are wounded. Each wound temporarily negates one trait. There we go. So that it can't be applied to tests. The trait is effectively lost for a time. The player can choose which trait that the character loses. Cool. We got recovery. Even though I was kind of picking on this, saying, oh, like, why don't you just call it troublesome to start with? Right? This does seem really interesting. I'm actually super digging on the rules light approach to this. These are different actions. More than just, activities. There we go. Although combat is an exciting part of the game, there are many other aspects to an adventure. Characters travel, trade, hunt, and sneak. They may need to avoid getting cold, thirsty, captured, or even poisoned. This sort of action occurs often in adventures, and it's a good idea for the GM to have these various pursuits and dangers detailed individually. This section covers the many activities a character may engage in and the hazards they face. Nice. So we've got things like ambushing, cooking, crafting, stealing. Troy Cornelson says it reminds them of the cipher system. There's quite a bit more crunch in cipher system, I have to say. Although I like cipher system, I talk about it all the time. The thing that throws people off, players and game masters, I think, with cipher system are the ciphers themselves. All right, so all this could be easily player facing. Now we'll get into the Game Master's Guide. I'm taking a guess we'll probably have an adventure in here. Maybe more than one. All right, so we got some history. Talking about villages. Got some tables for you to create your village, it looks like. Got towns, we got cities. So we have a city encounters table. It's 11 through 66. Got the forest. We have sites. Characters may, on rare occasions, come across a building or other construction referred to here as a site. This will typically be as they travel, and sites can be quite a distance from the nearest village. Some may be the home of a lesser-known knight. Others could be the residence of an obscure order of monks. Cottages and ruins might be the remains of some past settlement, or the residence of foresters, hunters, wise women, rogues, or outcasts. And a random table for the sites also. Talking about our journeys. The outlaw camp. So creating a base of operations, it looks like. Different foes. So we've got our beasts. So as an example, we've got the hart. Hart is a deer, and more specifically, a stag. They are often hunted, though in many areas, the hunting of a hart is controlled and poaching is severely punished. A stag can be aggressive if threatened, but most will usually flee when they sense danger. They are an ordinary foe. Large stags can be a troublesome foe. It's like we're getting into some NPCs. Yep, people. And we have a people table, and these are actually named. So as an example, we've got Henry the Turner, Brother Hugo, Joyce the Ladle. She's a brewer that makes a potent ale. Some villains, villainous tactics, accomplished, brutal, bully, chaotic, cowardly. Sure, we get more than that. Devious, diseased, nefarious, sneaky, underhanded. And we'll get some example villains here. I was going to say something else that I appreciate just as I'm flipping the page. I was going to say, I like the fact that it's not relying upon the legends of Robin Hood to really fuel the game. And then, of course, as I was about to say that, I flipped the page and there's Robin Hood. It's like, oh, okay. So, hey, cool. We got Will Scarlet. Infamous villains, the Sheriff of Nottingham, Prince John. Hey, sorcery. Well, I wasn't expecting this. This is an optional section. I got to say, the font here I could do without. I mean, I understand why it's there, but it has made reading the first sentence of some of these sections a little more challenging than I'd prefer, especially during a live stream. This is an optional section of the rules for those groups who wish to add a magical element to their games. Although sorcery does not appear in the older Robin Hood tales, it does feature in more modern stories, films, and TV series. Using magic in the game adds an otherworldly atmosphere, but can detract from the historical feel. The choice, as always, is the groups. So then we have sorcery talents. Looks like it's a pretty short section here. Historic locations, Sherwood Forest, Nottingham, Loxley. Adventure features, such as subplots, recurring allies, recurring villains. Max Apocalypse is rocking on out. Good to see you once again. Catch you next time. Adventure ideas. A meeting with the hooded man. An option for the first game session is for the player characters to meet Robin Hood and the Merry Men. This is especially useful for players new to role-playing games, since it gives them a little direction as how to proceed and provides a sense of purpose. This allows the GM to emphasize the motivation for the group to aid the downtrodden and resist the sheriff. The meeting sets the characters on their first adventure, delivering a message on behalf of Robin himself. If this option is chosen, the GM could play out the scene below, then proceed to the first adventure, perhaps messengers of the hooded man, detailed in the following chapter. All right. And there we go. Here's our adventure, Messengers of the Hooded Man. More than one. The Witch and the Elf Stones. I'll guess this does not necessarily have to use magic. The Talisman. Cool. Looks like we got a few. Then we got the Chronicle solo play for the Hooded Man. It's possible to play the Hooded Man as solo using the rules already described to play an adventure without the assistance of GM. The player generates adventure outlines and the encounters themselves and determines the outcome of events with the aid of the rules. Of course, whilst solo play features a single player, the player character usually has a companion to help out, so rarely face challenges alone. Are we going to get a bit of an oracle here? That's kind of cool that we get a section for solitaire. I like that. And then we get an example of solo play here. And our appendix, female first names, male first names, ready-made characters. Roll a 6-sided die. So as an example, we have Thomas Hayward is a disheveled, modest forester seeking experience. and accused of felling a tree in the king's forest. He is brave, charismatic, and virtuous. Thomas has an axe, a fur, a skin, and a cup. Cool. All right. That is a peek inside The Hooded Man from Graham Rose, published by Osprey Games. Once again, this 192-page hardcover is available now. Carries an MSRP of $38. And of course, you can also grab this digitally, either as, I think it's EPUB or PDF for $26.60. Stay tuned. I will have a review of The Hooded Man in the not too distant future. I'm intrigued. I was like, this is kind of digging it. Digging it as a rules light sort of Robin Hood outlaw game. So yeah, I will probably have a review of this within the next month. Easily enough. I should also mention from Christmas through New Year's, actually from Christmas through, what is it, January 6th, will be the 12 days of reviews here on the channel. So even though you won't see me for a few days, as far as, well, actually, probably almost 2 weeks. So there will be videos, there will be reviews. So my game plan is to share a new review video every day, like, the 12 days of Christmas. Because, a lot of people don't realize the 12 days of Christmas actually begins on Christmas Day. It's not 12 days leading up to Christmas. So, but that is my game plan. And New Year's Eve, I'm hoping, like I do just about every year, I am going to share a video with my favorite role-playing game releases of 2025. So hopefully you will tune in for that. All right. So if you tuned in a little bit late, on tomorrow's show, if it arrives, we're going to take a look at the new Dungeons and Dragons book. If for some reason it does not arrive, because sometimes FedEx doesn't deliver stuff on the day it says it's going to, we will go with our original plan, taking a first look at Paranoia, Brave New Missions. Otherwise, on tomorrow's show, we'll be taking a look at the forget the title of it. It's an Artificer book. I think for some reason it's set in Eberron, if I remember correctly. So you can always tune in, hang out live. If there's something that you'd be interested in finding out that's in the book, we'll take a peek. We'll track it down. Elf Knight 8045 has been hanging with us, as J-Man is also joining us tonight. I think I have said hello to everybody. Keith McGrath said, if they remember, if you have the trait, you get 3 dice. If not, only 1. Aha. Okay. So when we were talking about this here, the Hooded Man, say it was like a brave test, right? So if you had 3 traits and you make a brave test, you're rolling 3 6-sided dice. You're looking to roll a 6 so that you succeed. And I guess, according to Keith, it said if you have the trait, you'll actually get 3 dice for that, and then whatever dice you have from your other traits. So if you had 3 traits and one of them is brave, I'm thinking you would roll 5 dice. Still looking, just roll 1 6 in order to succeed. Very nice. Very nice. All righty. That's it for this time out. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, you get a tip of the cap, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company while I'm sharing the news or flipping through a book or unboxing a board game, what have you. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very kindly for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,300 videos here on the channel. Really does mean a lot to me. It is vastly appreciated. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for our latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on YouTube, especially Sammy's written reviews. We've got a couple of new. One is both of them are actually new Starfinder reviews. And I also have another Pathfinder adventure review that I have to get posted. I'll probably put it up on Friday. So if you don't visit thegaminggang.com, you miss all of that stuff. So keep that in mind. All right, everybody. Thank you very kindly for watching. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. If you like the video, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because they will not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube. Also let you know when I share other videos, such as my recent review of the Dolmenwood campaign book from Necrotic Gnome and Exalted Funeral. I will be back tomorrow. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and as always, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.